A couple of popular Houston businesses have announced that they are closing their doors.
Good evening and welcome to today's special report. So look, we're going to be going over the COVID-19 pandemic, however you look at it, and how it was a crisis, either way, that disrupted nearly every aspect of life and has left a profound impact on industries across the globe, especially the United States of America. Now, few have been hit as hard as the restaurant industry, and in a matter of months, the vital sector faced challenges that were previously unimaginable. Tonight, we take a closer look at the devastation within this industry, the struggles to survive, and the ongoing challenges that continue to shape its future.
A couple of popular Houston businesses have announced that they are closing their doors for good because of this pandemic. It's a story we're hearing too often. The original tasting room in Uptown Park is also closing at the end of this week. Barry's Pizza on Richmond also shuttered. The Houston institution posted on Facebook, "It's official, COVID-19 killed Barry's. We had a great 37-year run. I'll carry these memories always."
As the pandemic spread, governments around the world implemented mandatory shutdowns to curb the virus's spread. Restaurants, often the heart of communities, were among the first to feel this impact. Temporary closures quickly turned permanent for many as challenges mounted. Mandatory shutdowns reduced capacity due to social distancing and a sharp decline in customer traffic driven by health concerns.
Small businesses are run by heart and soul. They're dreams. There's people and they put everything into it. And so when something like this happens, they're not quite sure where to turn.
Even as restrictions began to ease, the industry found itself grappling with a new set of challenges. Supply chain disruptions, increased costs for sanitation and safety measures, and difficulties in rehiring staff created a perfect storm. Many restaurants pivoted to takeout and other delivery models, which provided a lifeline for a short time for some, but it wasn't enough to save them all.
The Small Business Development Center network at U of H says more than 5,000 business owners have reached out for help since the beginning of March. That's almost triple their normal call volume.
In the United States, over 100,000 restaurants permanently closed within the first year of the pandemic. Major urban centers such as New York City, Los Angeles, and Chicago were particularly hit the hardest. Tourist-dependent regions like Las Vegas and Orlando also suffered severe losses, with travel restrictions and reduced tourism leading to sharp declines in customer traffic.
Well, many of those struggling are in the restaurant business. When the pandemic hit, many restaurants are forced to close down and move to go only, while some shut down for good. Let's get out to ABC 15's John Genovese. John, sadly, dozens of restaurants won't be coming back to the Valley.
Yeah, Nick, this morning we're starting to get a better idea of just how much this pandemic has affected an entire industry. As you mentioned, for months, restaurants here have been dealing with mandates and restrictions, and now ABC 15 finding at least 45 across the valley have closed down for good. Now, that number includes restaurants, bakeries, and dessert shops.
Thanks to this incredible resource, I was able to onboard my team with confidence and ensure we're compliant with all regulations. With over 3 hours of audio and video study material, we were able to navigate the new reporting requirements. It's a total game changer.
Suburban and rural areas, while not as heavily affected as major cities, also face significant challenges. With smaller customer base and fewer options for delivery and takeout, many restaurants struggle to adapt to the new reality, leading to now even more further closures.
Now, among the closures, these are just a few of those familiar names. Macayo's Depot Cantina, that's where we are near Mill Avenue here in Tempe. La Boca Urban Pizzeria in both Tempe and Phoenix. El Zocalo Mexican Grill in downtown Chandler. Dos Gringos in Chandler and Tempe. And most recently, the Phoenix Public Market Cafe. Now, we talked with Steve Chukri, president of the Arizona Restaurant Association, and he says between those takeout mandates and now 50% occupancy restrictions, it's just not sustainable, and the workforce continues to suffer.
For decades, small businesses, including restaurants, have been a cornerstone of the American economy, employing nearly half of the private workforce. But the pandemic has accelerated an already troubling trend. A steady decline in small business employment, which has been ongoing for over 50 years. You see, in the early 1970s, small businesses employed over 55% of the workforce. Today, that number has dropped to around 46 to 47%, driven by factors such as industry consolidation, technological advances, and even globalization.
We still have a lot of displaced workers. That is still one negative effect. We've lost a lot of that talent to other states. People have had to move out of state. We've lost that talent to people just going into other professions because they couldn't stand to wait around and not be able to be hired back.
And Chukri did say that many restaurants across the state have seen support from their loyal customers, doing their best to help as best they can.
For those restaurants that have managed to survive, the road to recovery has been long and uncertain. Inflation, labor shortages, and the ongoing threat of new variants, possibly new variants, continue to pose challenges. Yet, amid the difficulties, there is a sign of hope. The restaurant industry has shown and continued to be incredibly resilient, adapting to new models and finding ways to connect with customers despite all these obstacles. But what does that mean for small business restaurants?
It's official, COVID-19 killed Barry's. We had a great 37-year run. I'll carry these memories always.
As we look to the future, the story of the restaurant industry during the pandemic serves as a vital reminder of the importance of not only cash flow, increased revenue, but the importance of community, innovation, and also perseverance. The path ahead may be challenging, but the spirit of these small businesses still remains unbroken today as they continue to try to recoup from the devastation of 2020. We thank you for joining us in this special report. Stay safe.